The 138th annual commencement exercises of Wagner College will now open with America the Beautiful. Please join the college choir as they lead us singing America the Beautiful and the Star-Spangled Banner. Please remain standing until after the invocation by Reverend Dr. Holly Bonner.
stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let us pray. Almighty God, known by many names, in Psalms you reminded us, I will instruct you and teach you in the way which you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Wagner College class of 2023, our eyes have been upon each of you as you have moved towards this long-awaited day. And today we celebrate your accomplishments as you arrive at this defining moment. Together, we acknowledge the dedication of our Wagner faculty, administration, staff, and trustees. We bless your wonderful families and friends for their unwavering support, and we ask the Almighty Creator to provide all our graduates with the courage to match the uncertainties of our world and to respect the diversity of humankind. Help them to be mindful that true success is born of meaningful relationships and a community that embraces peace and justice. Let the ceremony begin. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. And to parents and loved ones, our faculty and staff, friends, alumni, and our Board of Trustees. Congratulations, graduates, class of 2023. You know, I'm particularly glad that for logistical reasons a couple of years ago we separated out our commencements, but we decided that it was best to leave it this way because it is such a distinct difference from, and all of you experienced it, right? When you graduated with your bachelor's degrees, maybe a year, 2 or 3 years ago, to when you're receiving your graduate and advanced degrees. In fact, you're joining a very elite number of Americans. Only 1 out of 8 adults in the United States ever achieves a graduate or professional degree. So I salute you for that. And that's even more significant and more important today because so many are now questioning and even challenging the value of higher education. And you all are the folks who are going to make it clear how important undergraduate and graduate degrees are. You are the leaders of the next decade and beyond. You are the folks who are going to be bringing us to a better place. And what I'd ask you to think about as you go forward, whatever your field is, whether it's in nursing and physician assistant, whether it's in education and you're going to go into teaching, or if you're in microbiology and you're going on to do research or even further study, or if you're one of our business graduates with an MBA going on to manage, lead, work in finance or accounting. Whatever that field, keep in mind 2 things that I hope we here at Wagner College have helped instill in you. And that is the idea that we hold so close of putting together the notions of teaching and learning. And I'll start with learning because learning is important throughout your entire life. I still learn something new every day. Don't ever lose the capacity or the willingness to learn, to adapt, to change. And learning is the key to change. But the other one's important too, because you all, with your graduate degrees in hand, are going to go out into the world, and you're not just going to be leaders, you're going to be teachers. And that's obvious, of course, for those of you in education who are going to be teaching the traditional way in a classroom to students. But even if you're going to be working in a hospital, you're going to be teaching. You're going to be teaching patients. You're going to be working with staff. If you're going into business, you're going to be teaching. When you're working with, whether it's in small groups or larger, whether it's advising people. Obviously, if you're going into research, you're going to be teaching a lot by what you write and what you learn. And so all of you are going to be teachers, and I commend you for that, and I really salute you for that. And the last thing I want to say is you've been here, many of you have been here for 6 years. You started as undergrads here, got your graduate degree, and now going on. Others have been here as recently as 1 or 2 years. But while you spent a few years as students at Wagner College, you will always be alumni of Wagner College. And this is always your home, and this is always a place we hope you come back to and visit and be part of the Wagner family. We know you will. Congratulations again, and let's get on with commencement.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our student speaker, Reality Anderson. Reality Anderson was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, where she is a devout member of the greatest church this side of the Jordan, Trinity United Church of Christ. Anderson currently serves as a graduate residential coordinator in the Office of Residential Education here at Wagner College, where she has earned her master's degree in media management. She was awarded a Bachelor of Science degree in Strategic Communication by Morgan State University, where she had the honor of serving as the 76th Miss Morgan State. Reality Anderson.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Oh. Good afternoon, Seahawks and Seahawk adjacents. I am honored to welcome the President, Trustees, Administration, Faculty, Alumni, and the fellow members of the class of 2023. And I want to say a gracious thank you to my family and friends and loved ones who all made it possible. I must say, stepping foot on Wagner College campus was one of the scariest things I had ever done. Not because I was afraid of a new environment, but because I was pushed by pain rather than purpose. I had lost so much that when I looked up, I couldn't find my why. Do you know how terrifying it is to wake up and not know why you should keep going? In my time before Wagner, I had achieved some great things, such as serving as Miss Morgan State University at my illustrious alma mater, a place where everyone looked like me, a place where everyone shared the same experiences as me. So you must understand, it was quite an adjustment I had to make coming here. To most, it may have seemed like a flawless transition, but for me, it was truly difficult because I had been pulled out of my comfort zone with no why. So you can imagine my surprise when a group of 38 worrisome students entered my life and turned it upside down. You see, I worked for the residential education department here, where I had the honor of overseeing some of the finest students to ever grace Wagner College's campus. Little did I know that those students would ultimately change the trajectory of my life. I should have had an inkling that they would play a special role in this season of my life when they spent hours sitting in D Hall, a place that would become known as the OG kick-it spot, listening to an old woman's tales about serving her community. Then came about 200 plus extra worrisomes who began to challenge everything I knew about student engagement and development in the most surprising, amazing ways. I had to learn how to speak athlete, being what my kids would call a NARP, non-athletic regular person, ? I knew nothing. And I had to learn how to be considerate of international affairs, as this campus is the most intricate little melting pot. Most importantly, though, I had to learn how to speak with intention. The dictionary defines intentionality as the act of being deliberate or recursive, but my time at Wagner has redefined intentionality for me. That word soon came to be the standard of every moment I shared with the other members of this campus community. As you go through this world, you will find that not everyone carries the same heart as you. And that is fine, because not everyone is destined to go to the lengths that you are called to. The only thing that's standing between you and your destiny are your intentions and how you focus them. Today, I would like to issue this challenge. Don't let your pride undermine your intention. From this moment forward, be a person of substance and move with purpose and power in every interaction, because every little interaction has led me to this moment right here. My why. Today, I am able to stand here with the confidence of Beyonce and the wisdom of Maya Angelou because of the magic that lies within the souls bound to this institution. And it is because of you all that I can be me. And I pray that it is because of me that you remember to intentionally show up in this world as large and in charge as you are, that you know that you are worthy of adoration, love, and respect, and that you are your own main character in your very own story. So, thank you for allowing me to be the main star in the latest and best 2 seasons of the long-running series, What's Happening at Wagner College.
I usually don't use notes, but I'm going to introduce my friend Curtis Wright, and his bio is a little longer than I remembered. Curtis is a native of Arkansas, and he has given his life to college students throughout the country, from Arkansas to New York and now to Louisiana. Curtis holds his bachelor's degree in sociology and his master's in adult education from the University of Arkansas. And one thing that's not on his bio, he was also a Razorback at times during Arkansas football games. And he said he didn't mind that I would share that with you. Currently, Curtis is the Vice President of Student Affairs at Xavier University, Louisiana in New Orleans. In that, Curtis oversees, and get ready for this, residential education, health and wellness, campus police, university athletics, student and alumni and auxiliary services, veterans affairs, and inclusion, and social justice. Curtis has also served this year as the interim vice president for enrollment management, where he's also worked with the admissions and financial aid offices. Prior to this role, Curtis lived here on our campus at Wagner College, where he was our dean of students and also was our chief diversity officer. Before that, Curtis worked at NYU in Manhattan, and Curtis's role at NYU was as multicultural affairs director and also as minority advocate for student activities, Greek life, residential education. He also did that at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Curtis serves now as the external reviewer for the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on College and is a member of the Coalition of Urban and Metropolitan Universities. We found out we're both members of that. The American College Personnel Association and the National Association of Student Affairs Professionals. In December, Curtis testified before the U.S. Senate Committee on Health Education, Labor and Pension Subcommittee of Children and Families, and ways to support students' mental health in the transition from high school to college. Like me, Curtis has also completed all his doctoral work, what's known as ABD, and also Curtis is a proud first-generation college student, and we are privileged to have him here with us today to give the address to you all. Curtis?
President Oremo, Corporal Stanley, Chair Facelli, Platform Party, esteemed faculty and staff, family, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2023. In the prophetic words of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. While I'm not a clairvoyant or a psychic mind reader, I can probably guess what you're thinking right now. How many people must have turned down this gig for us to be stuck with this man right here? And honestly, I was thinking the same thing. And I have no idea, but what I know for sure is that I am ridiculously humbled by the high honor of speaking to you today, and it is an opportunity that I do not take lightly. You see, as President Ramos said, I stand before you as a first-generation college graduate, and for many of you, earning an advanced degree was probably a part of your 5-year plan. But for me, it was just as much a fantasy as the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny. So on days like today, I get really excited. I'm excited not just for the graduates who have worked extremely hard to achieve this milestone, but I'm also excited for their parents and grandparents, the uncles and aunts who have sacrificed, who saved, who have spent lots of money for you to sit right here today in this robe and those beautifully decorated hats. When I think about my academic journey, my parents were centered front and center. While neither of my parents had the opportunity to go to college, they understood the importance of education. My father graduated from a high school and earned a scholarship to study journalism at Philander Smith College, a small Methodist HBCU in Little Rock, Arkansas. Unfortunately, he met one of the loves of his life. He had a couple, and was a father shortly after he graduated. So he had to take a job as a farmhand and work 12-hour days in the rice fields of East Arkansas. Every time we drove by Philander Smith, he would muse about whether the dean still had his scholarship on his desk waiting for him. I sat quietly as he wondered what he could have done, who he could have been, had he only had his college degree. My mother would tell stories about going to the segregated middle school and how she was one of the first classes to integrate her high school. Mind you, she was born in 1955. The Little Rock Nine integrated Central High School in 1957. Suppose things moved a little bit slower in Stugart, Arkansas in those days. My mom suffered from epilepsy, and by the 10th grade, her seizures were too much for the school to accommodate. They didn't have a Dina Asante to help students navigate ADA back then. Ultimately, the principal asked my grandmother to take her home and to allow her to get a GED. As opposed to getting a GED, my mom got a job. By 18, she was a single mother and met the love of her life, my dad. Within months, they married. She moved into his house to become a stepmom to his 8 children. And there wasn't time for a GED. When I was in the 2nd grade, I can remember my mom going to night school. And on one of the evenings, Miss Digatano came running to the car to reassure her that she could do it, that she'd only missed it by a few points. Through her tears, my mother said that she was done and drove away. There would be no GED. Yesterday was the 21st anniversary of my mother's death. So when I tell you how excited I am, it's not only because of you, the graduates, and all the things that you've done. It's because of those who came before us and the things that they could never do. And while I'm inspired by the educators, the physician's assistants, the nurses, the researchers, the future business and leaders sitting in front of me, I am in awe of a woman named Mary. Now, having spent the last 5 years working at a Catholic university, I have to share with you that it is not the Mary that you are thinking of. It's my Mary, my maternal grandmother, Mary Elizabeth Williams Mayfield. Miss Lizzie, as her neighbors knew her, or Shotgun Lizzie if you made her mad. Now, as a child, I would stay at my grandmother's house on weekends and during the week and go home on the weekends. I often tell people I was raised to be an old black woman because all of my grandmother's friends were my friends, and we would go to doctor's appointments and sit outside and gossip all together. They were my best friends. Now, my grandma taught me to hate liars and thieves. She would always remark about how old so-and-so could lie quicker than a cat could lick his eye, and how so-and-so would steal sweetness out of gingerbread without touching the crust. But she also made me love cakes and peach cobbler and crackling cornbread. But most importantly, she made me love reading. She was born in a little sharecropper's house in East Arkansas. Her earliest memory was the death of her mother, who broke her back when she fell on a metal bed rail. She believed she was about 4 years old, and her older brother, John Henry, couldn't have been more than 12 when they were shipped off to live with an older cousin in her family, because as my grandmother said it, they were old enough to go to work. Her little sister, Sarah, was under 2, so she moved to live with a family friend. And as a child, I remember meeting my Aunt Sarah and thinking she looked just like my grandmother, the major difference being that she wore silver rings on every finger. And as a 4-year-old, I imagine she must have been prepared to ward off vampires or box in street fights with all those rings, because I didn't quite understand why you needed all 10 rings, but she wore them. Now, my grandmother's life with her adopted family was filled with obstacles. She spoke about the first day of school. She said, "My hair looked like dried up sheep doo-doo and smelled like fish grease," because her adopted mom saved the good hair grease for her daughter's hair. She said she made me wear a potato sack dress and oversized shoes and tied a pencil on the shoestring around my neck. She walked to school, and while I can't remember for sure, I'm confident it was uphill both ways. But what I do know is how she talked about how she loved going to school. She came home that afternoon with her school books to tell her mom all about it. However, she didn't get to go back to school until the last day of the year, only to bring the books back. She said that this charade lasted for about 3 more years before her adopted mother stopped sending her at all, as she had chores that were far more important than the schoolwork. When I was about 4, she described an occasion when she may have been 14 or 15 years old and her adoptive parents had a party. Her mother brought her into the kitchen and said, "You're going to go live with Daddy Hampton's friend." Daddy Hampton was her adoptive father, and he had given her to his friend to be his wife. And I remember being amazed by the fact that my grandmother had been married before my grandmother, and I said, "Grandma, you were married?" And she said, "Yeah, you can call it that." And I said, "Well, what was he like?" She said, "Who?" I said, "Your husband." She paused, she closed her eyes, and she said, He was tall, had light skin, curly hair, and cold hands. The world stood still. She then said, well, about 6 months later, I ran away, and I started cooking and cleaning for this older white woman. She told me that the lady had let her sleep in the shed, and she could eat whatever she wanted and got paid a little money. In my 4-year-old voice, I said, "Well, what was that like?" She scratched her head and said, "I suppose it was good." She went on to say that every night after dinner, she would read to me from the Bible. Her favorite verse was the 23rd Psalm. And then she cleared her throat and she said, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sakes. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." She said we would recite that verse so much that I never forgot it. Shortly after her 17th birthday, she left her house and moved to the big city of Stuttgart, Arkansas. It's about 12,000 people now, so you can imagine it to be about 1,000 people today. I said, "Grandma, what became of this woman?" She said, "I guess she died." We didn't have phones back then. But she gave me a Bible, an address, and a hat. She said when she moved to Stuttgart, she got a job as a maid. She rented a room in a boarding house and went to the first church she could find, because she knew that the one thing that she knew was that God would keep her safe. She described walking into the church, armed with that dress, the hat, and the Bible the woman had given her, ready to learn the good news. She says she was met with a cacophony of side eyes and what the kids today may call shade. She said those ladies all had fancy dresses on and matching hats and gloves, and she felt like they looked down at her because of her hand-me-down outfits. She was excited when they began Bible study because she remembered that God said, "Come as you are." They would start each Bible study with a member reading their favorite verse, and then they would turn into the scripture and discuss it. The ladies quickly realized that my grandmother couldn't read because when she opened her Bible, it was never on the right page or in the right section. So one day, they called on her to read her favorite verse and in the Bible. And I said, "Well, what did you do?" She said, "I opened my Bible, I closed my eyes, and I said, 'The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.' and began to recite the 23rd Psalm. She said each week she put on that dress and that hat and go back to church, and each week they would smirk and ask her to open with a Bible verse, and she would recite the 23rd Psalm every time. And finally one member said, "That must be your favorite verse." And she said, I replied, "Yes, ma'am, it sure is." You see, she was unbothered by those hateful women and would not let them block her blessings. She told me about a former friend of hers who could read and how she would open mail for people in the boarding house and read letters and write letters for them. On one occasion, an old man asked my grandmother's friend to write his family and ask for money to help him with his rent. The woman wrote the letter, and when the family wrote back, she read the letter, apologizing that they just didn't have any money, but they would pray for him. My grandmother said that her friend later told her that the family actually sent money, but she took it out of the envelope before she read the letter. My grandmother said at that moment, I knew I had to learn to read for myself. So she went to the local drugstore with her Bible in hand and bought pencils and notebook. On her way out, she asked the clerk if he could show her where he could turn to the 23rd Psalms and mark where the verse began and ended. She went back home and began scribbling out the 23rd Psalm in her notebook. She then would search the Bible looking for words that she recognized in the text, and soon she had filled that notebook with familiar words from the 23rd Psalm. On her next trip to the drugstore, the clerk realized that she had those old notebooks filled with writings and asked what she was doing. She said sheepishly, "I'm teaching myself to read." They said, "Come here after we close on Wednesday and we'll help you." So she stopped going to Bible study and started going to the drugstore, where the clerks took turn reading with her from the Bible and teaching her how to read and write using the Bible as her textbook. When I think about the uncertain times that we live in now, I often wonder, what might my grandmother say? What stories would she tell? Every time I went to her 4-room house, she'd read to me. Sometimes it was from the newspaper, but most times it was the Bible. She would apply the lessons from the Bible to the things happening in the newspapers. At Wagner, you call it applying theory to practice. She didn't need a formal education to inspire me to get one. And because of her constant reading, I could read before I began kindergarten. So when I tell you how excited I am for you, it's because of Miss Lizzie, who sat in the shadows so that I could stand today in your light. Now, I'm going to close soon, but I have another confession to make. While I shouldn't have had favorites, out of all the groups of students that I've worked with over the last 25 years, my favorites are nurses. Where are the nurses? Now, you all know the story of the original nurse, the OG, if you will, Miss Florence Nightingale. I like to call her Flo. Now, she was known as the Lady with the Lamp because of her work with the wounded soldiers during the Crimean War. The legend goes she was so dedicated to saving lives that she could be seen shining her light, walking amongst the beds, providing care late into the night. And like Florence, on a daily basis, nurses use their light to drown out the darkness that others experience. A few years ago, I found myself in a dark moment, with a sister hospitalized and assigned to palliative care and who would eventually be placed in hospice. As I listened to the doctors and the nurses and social workers in her care team, I had no clue what to do. It was very dark, and on one evening, I took out my phone and I texted a nurse, and I said to her, "My sister is dying and I don't know what questions to ask." Within minutes, my phone rang, and in a hushed yet loud voice, "I saw your light." One of your alums, a beloved faculty and the dean of the Evelyn Sparrow School of Nursing, like Florence, carried her lamp for me. Dr. Pat Tooker whispered loudly on the other end of the phone, "Hold on a minute, I gotta go outside, I'm at a family dinner." Like Florence, she shone her light so that I could see. The warmth of her generosity and of her spirit made my soul know that all would be well. Not only did she listen to my concerns and fears and ask the questions which would allow me to ask the questions so that I would be able to provide my sister with a transition that was both peaceful and dignified, but she also did this while standing outside in a crowded parking lot of a restaurant, interrupting her time with her family. That's what nurses do. No, that's what Wagner nurses do. You are graduating today fully prepared to save lives as nurses and PAs, to transform lives as educators and teachers and researchers. You are going to make lives worth living as leaders of industry and business, and for this you should be proud. But I'm most proud because of your Wagner plan. And regardless of your political ideologies, what we can all agree on is the world is waiting for leaders like you I know your deep commitment to your community, your uncompromised search for equity and justice, your unmatched ability to be kind and brave and bold and courageous, because that's what Wagner has prepared you to do. There will be moments when you are uncertain or mad about something, but as my grandmother would remind me about the 23rd Psalms, he didn't say we were standing in the valley of the shadow of death. He said we were walking. And you have to keep walking, much like Florence, with your light, because our country, your community needs your leadership. I keep walking for my grandmother, who by teaching herself to read allowed me to fall in love with the written word. I keep walking for my friend's baby, who should be born any minute now, and I can't wait to meet her and buy her useless junk that she will never need. I keep walking for the promise that is stored within each and every one of you. What keeps you moving? What do you know? Who do you walk for? I want you to know that while we don't know what lies beyond the horizon, there's nothing to fear, and you must take time to stand in your light, but never stop walking. And the good news is that you're not walking alone. You have your family and friends and your spectacular Seahawk community. Whenever you feel tired and unsure, find a seat and be still, because your crown is waiting for you just around the corner. And when you are quiet, listen for the voice of your shotgun, Lizzie, and allow God's blessings to cover you with his peace and his amazing grace. I may never be able to fully express how grateful I am to have had this opportunity to stand with you upon this beautiful hill. But as Meister Eckhart reminds us, if the only prayer that you ever hear is thank you, may it be enough. I thank you. I wish you the very best, and I know that I'm rooting for you and can't wait to see all the great good things that lie ahead on your journey. Congratulations.
We will now proceed with the awarding of degrees. Will the awardees of the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice please rise? President Aramo, I have the honor to present to you for investment the candidates for Doctor of Nursing Practice.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Wagner College, and in accordance with the laws of the State of New York, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice and extend to you our hopes and wishes for continued success. Congratulations.
I now have the honor to present these awardees individually. Would the doctoral degree recipients please come forward? The audience is asked to hold applause until all doctoral degree recipients have crossed the stage. Kim Rodriguez Loggins. Dana Gordell. Elizabeth Harrington. Catherine O'Connor. Lachana Pereira. Elizabeth Jessica Ranelli. Teddy Theodorakis. Michelle Torres. Please honor all doctoral degree awardees with your applause. Will the candidates for postmaster certificates please rise? President Aramo, it is my honor to present to you for investment the candidates for the postmaster certificates.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Wagner College, and in accordance with the laws of the State of New York, I hereby confer upon the postmaster certificate recipients who are qualified and extend our hopes and wishes for your continued success. Congratulations.
Will the candidates for all master's degrees please rise? President Aramo, it is my honor to present to you for investment the candidates for master's degrees.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Wagner College, and in accordance with the laws of the State of New York, I hereby confer upon you the master's degree for which you are qualified, and extend our hopes and wishes for your continued success, and congratulations.
Would the degree recipients of the Masters of Science in Education please come forward? All others may be seated. Nyla Rivera Colon. Gianna Skoronsky. Jamie Lynn Weingarten. Andrew Wilson. Summer Ahmad. Lauren Lee Benoit. Hannah Dukes. Aiden Malik. Bianca Precious Ramos. William Edward Riches, Jr. Would the degree recipients of the Master of Science please rise and come forward? Victoria Rose Albani. Reality Jalen Anderson. Amna Noor Amjad. Inshira Anis. Marissa Antonia Apolito. Gianluca Bartoli. Jacqueline Catherine Blois. Bridget Bonnie Bean. Hannah Mackenzie Brown. Andras Bimbo Joy. Forrest Green. Danielle Christina Balia. Stephanie Ganjimi. Madeline Rose Bezerov. Carmenisa Ayub. Rosa Parker. Olivia Drew Myers. Skylar O'Connor. Devanshi R. Patel. Vruthi Patel. Yo Hao Kao. Michelle Marie Daniels. Aaron DePaul.
Hey, Michelle. Proud of you. Yeah.
James Crishone Jr.
Y'all.
Gina Downey. Selena Ariel Francolino. Gabrielle Lynn Fleorent. Aisha Farouk. Juliana Frashilla. Sarah Gigliotti. Caitlin Marie Gonzalo. Tessa Lynn Reinhardt. Diana Rivera Garcia. Katerina Olivia Ranieri. Erica Marie Salveggi. Christina Grace Scarfo. Abini Mahalingam. Sarah Catherine Lott. Miles Herbie Lopes. Michael David Kraus. Sabina Kraya. Marissa K. Nee. Krista Marie Cato. Olivia Joy. Stephanie Javier. Judy Jomon Jacob. Barbara Mumba Ifani. Donaldine Tulla. Catherine Salim Hannah. Menaka Depani Tila Karatna. Cheryl Tobia. Carolina Truchell. Erin Claire Tesoriaro. Salvatore Eugiano.
Yes, sir! Yeah. So proud of you, Salvatore.
Giselle Vasquez.
You did it, Salvatore! Sal!
Tegan
Hey,
Wasserman.
baby, let's go! Proud of you, brother.
Grace Claire Wheeler. Ellie Cameron Weiss. Jacob Michael Zimmers.
Come on, come on. Let's go, girls. Becky, come on.
Will the degree recipients of the Master of Business Administration please rise and come forward? President Ramo. Oh no, I'm early. Okay. Aiden Alvarez. Louisa Barone. Sarah Megan Burney. Powers Cleo Burton. Gabriella Cipriano. Augustina DeHarby. Lauren DiStefano. Hunter Gantos.
I don't know. Should I? Oh, no, I got you.
Aileen Hannon. Yannick Gerland. Malia Carmen Josephson. Our niece, Renee King. Fidan Khalazad. Alina Kitsleyskaya. Daniel Joseph McCauley. Nicholas Laprie. Aaron Layton. Matthew Edward Reuter. Penelope Jane Russ. Edda Skorick. Carl Heinz Kajust. Murat Ersos. Gimale Asaku. Please honor all master's degree awardees with your applause. President Aramo, I have the honor to present Ms. Kaylin Kelly, President of the Wagner College Alumni Association, who will induct the class of 2023 into the Fellowship of Wagner College Alumni.
Will the graduates of the class of 2023 please stand? I invite all graduates to move their tassels from the right to the left of their mortarboards. In doing so, you will signify that you are now and forevermore alumni of Wagner College. You may be seated. Congratulations on officially becoming Wagner College alumni. It is my great honor to stand before you today to represent the Wagner College Alumni Association and warmly welcome you to the Seahawk family of over 28,000 alumni across the world. I am so excited to see you soar. Go Seahawks! Congratulations.
Class of 2023, can you please rise? Can you turn around? Now thank the most important people, your parents and loved ones.
Will the audience please rise for the benediction offered by Reverend Holly Bonner, which will be followed by the alma mater led by members of the Wagner College Choir. Please join them. We ask that all attendees remain standing while the academic procession has passed. Reverend Bonner.
Gracious and loving God, we ask now for your almighty hand to be upon our graduates as they and their families celebrate this grand milestone. May they find comfort from Wagner's continued support as they journey through life. Enable them to stay true to their dreams for your greater glory, to discern what is right, what is good and just, and to use their gifts wisely and in the service to others. Empower them to walk into the future with faith, hope, and love, guided by your light, so that they may use their talents to change our world, one person at a time. Grace be to them, grace be to all. Amen and congratulations.
Yes, yes, thank you so much over here. Don't miss it. Glasses? Glasses? Great, let's move my glasses.
They're going! Ah! We're gonna be faster! Faster than this! Ah!
Yes, it is. Good. All right, guys. Congrats. Thank you.